Hello, I'm Callum.
And I'm Lucy.
Can you get to what ought to be just from looking at what is?
Back in the 18th century, the philosopher David Hume claimed that you can't get an ought from an is.
Most people who've thought about it since then have agreed with him. But some atheists are now claiming that you can.
Here's what the famous atheist writer Sam Harris says.
I believe that we will increasingly understand good and evil, right and wrong, in scientific terms, because moral concerns translate into facts about how our thoughts and behaviours affect the well-being of conscious creatures like ourselves. If there are facts to be known about the well-being of such creatures, and there are, then there must be right and wrong answers to moral questions.
Harris is claiming that there are real moral values. Some things really are right and others really are wrong. He says that right and wrong are all about the well-being of conscious creatures, and he claims that as we find out more, particularly about how our brains work, we'll get a better idea of what brings about this well-being. So in his view, science can tell us what is right and wrong.
But there's a huge problem with this approach.
It doesn't allow any room for the possibility that I could know what makes for someone else's well-being, but just not care. That I might follow my own well-being regardless of anyone else's.
To put it differently, it doesn't tell me why I should care about someone else's well-being. It just assumes that I should. But that's the big question in the first place. Harris's claim only seems to work because it sneaks right and wrong in through a back door.
Science can tell us more about how our brains work. Maybe it can tell us more about what makes for our well-being. But it still can't bridge the gap between the way things are and the way things ought to be. It can't tell us that we ought to value the well-being of other people.
Whatever modern atheists think, you still can't get an ought from an is.